Hello guys, this is Lindsay Ellis here. And today we'll be continuing piano for beginners. Now this now down way, let's get into it. it Perfect. Learn about ledger lines. Get the grips with these essential parts of music notation with our simple step-by-step guide. When you're looking at a piece of music to play on piano, you'll notice that the treble clef and a bass clef are joined together with a bracket on the left-hand side. This is called the grand stave and makes it possible for you to read the music and to play on the keyboard with both your left and right hands simultaneously. However, as there are more notes on the piano that can fit on the treble, bass, and even grand stave, we need ledger lines to help. These are lines that work to extend either the treble stave or bass stave's 5 lines in order to represent notes that appear either above or below the staff. Stave. Where was I? For example, middle C appears below the 5 main lines of the treble clef. Yet, it appears above the 5 main lines of the bass clef. So to help you recognize a note, a ledger line is placed through a note head, spaced equally relative to the lines in the main stave. Middle C is then placed on the imaginary line above or below the stave. Many other notes will appear in sheet music with ledger lines. Much higher notes will appear above the treble stave. Notes in the middle, the range will appear on the ledger lines in the middle of the grand stave. And very low notes you'll see drop down below the bass stave. On the keyboard, see how notes on the ledger lines translate to notes on the piano. Octave clefs. Too many ledger lines can get confusing. Although music calls for notes that are very high or very low in pitch, composers can use different clefs to help. You'll see the number 8 above the treble clef or below a bass clef. This means that the notes are played in octave or octave, higher or lower respectively. If the notes need to be really high or low, a 15 can be used above or below the clefs. Our two examples actually tell the pianist to play the same notes, despite the different places on the stage. On the number 15 example, the C notes are in the middle C position on the stave. That's actually the C2 octaves higher and lower. Change note lengths. Learn how the duration of notes can be modified with dots and ties. See how they fit within multiple time signatures. To properly understand what notes that use dots and ties mean, You first need to brush up on signatures and note duration. The pace of a piece of music. Uh, the pace of a piece of music is governed by its time signature. You can see the symbol at the start of any stave. You can see the symbol at any start of the stave, right next to the treble or bass clef. It's usually the two numbers, such as 4/4, 4/4, placed on top of one another, but it can differ. The stave is divided up into bars, and so that the time signature defines the type and amount of notes, so how many beats that each bar contains. Uh, Contains different notes with different durations. A 4/4 time signature means that a bar needs to contain 4 values in each bar. No, needs to contain note values in each bar that combine to equal 4 beats. For example, 4 crotchets equal quarter notes. This is where dots and ties come in, both to alter the length of the specific type of note. An argumented dot is rather neatly a small dot that appears next to a note and instructs you to increase that note's duration by half. For example, if you saw a giant crotchet quarter note, you would need to play in the length of the crotchet quarter note, quarter note plus half that duration again. So half a crotchet or quarter note would be an eighth of a semibreve whole note. Ties, on the other hand, work to merge notes at the same pitch, and they appear as curved lines which links notes together and you can let the duration of notes travel across barriers such as bars. Double dotted notes. Once you understand dotted notes, double dotted notes are easy. The second note dot simply extends the note by a further half of the note. If a minim half note is worth 2 beats, then a dotted minim half note will extend to 3 beats. A double dotted minim half note would be worth 3.5 beats. Look at our example to see how different note durations could fit into bars of 4/4 time. Triple dotted notes are also used in notation, which makes the note 17/8 of its duration. You probably wouldn't come across it too much. Oh, sorry about that. Eh? Okay, there you go. Oop. Still, oh no, you can't. Sorry about that. After a note's pitch with accidentals, learn what these quirky symbols mean and whip the sharps and flats into shape. The term accidentals is given to little symbols that turn a note into a sharp or flat, or back to a natural. Essentially, the symbol tells you how to modify the pitch of the note. Flat lowers the pitch by 1/2 step. Semitone and sharp raises the pitch by a 1/2 step. Semitone. You'll see symbols to the left of a note in question, and you'll notice them clinging onto the treble and bass stays between the clef and the time signature. This is what's known as a key signature. Key signatures tell musicians which key the tune is played in and refer to the sharps and flats that are used throughout the piece. You'll need to memorize the ones to play from the signature. If you learn different scales, you'll be able to recognize key signatures much faster. For example, if music tells you that the key is G major, you'll know you use all the notes on the scale of G major, including F sharp. All key signatures except for C major, A minor, have sharps and flats in them. The signature itself will have little sharp or flat signs in them. The signature itself will have little sharp or flat signs on the corresponding line of the stave for the note. Another accidental is natural. When this is next to the note, it cancels out the sharp or the flat instructed by the key signature or final accidentals. So you should play the natural note, i.e. the white key. Doubling up. A double flat is signified by using two flat symbols. If 200 zoom. Okay, that's perfect. Ooh. Doubling up. What do you get when you double your sharps and flats? A double flat is signified by doing two flat symbols, VB, and the double sharp symbol looks like an X. While the flat or sharp alters a pitch notes pitched by 1/2 step. Semitone. You'll find a double flat or double sharp alters the note by a full step or tone. In our examples, GBB is the same as F natural because two semitones lower. Well, GX the same as A natural because two semitones higher. A double flat or double sharp alters the note by a full step, 2/2 steps. Now navigate music notation. Time to get score, savvy, and stay on track through notation with repeats and endings. Learning to read music is like learning a different language. There are so many different directions. Most of them in Italian. And it gets confusing when you're faced with a page of music peppered with markings and symbols. It's especially sticky when certain tunes require you to double back on yourself and repeat sections over and over. Where do you start from, and how do you know what to repeat? The good news for beginners is that once you understand the theory behind all these melodious jiggly pokery, you'll realize that all it takes is memorizing a few key amplitudes to keep you flowing through the bars. The first aspect is to grasp is bar lines and what different ones mean. And codas and Senegal lines 7. These symbols along some Italian directions that will cover in more detail soon. We'll give you a clear idea what notes and bars to repeat and when. The last things that you'll need to recognize when you're nagging away around a piece of sheet music are first and second timelines. These bars show you when are alternative ending to a tune or part of a tune. In time, with a bit of practice, you'll know exactly what you need to play and where. It's best to think about these symbols as more like road signs on a stay. They'll point you in the right direction and you'll be playing beautifully in no time. Giving about stay, the key elements to recognize for musical repeats. Top tip, keeping it simple. The Italian algebras are somewhere used in English, e.g. the phrase dici al corda, which means repeat from the beginning until you reach a coda symbol. Or phrase al coda. Then jump forward to the next coda symbol to continue playing. Time bars. Playing musical repetition and alternative endings is easy. Another form of repetition comes in the form of first and second time bars. These are number brackets that appear above the notes and change the ending of a repeated passage. The first time the passage is played, you play it in the station under first bar time bar. When the passage is repeated, you skip the notes in the first time bar and only play the notes in the second time bar. These come in 1 and 2 for meter. For example, you would use 1, 2, 3, and 4 to play something through 4 times, yet only use a different ending the fourth time. First and second time bars change the ending of a repeated passage. Control with the volume with dynamics. When you start to read music, all those dots and symbols on the page can look confusing. But as you get more confident, you can start to put more oomph into your music and when you come across dynamics. Essentially, musical dynamics control the volume of a piece. They are Italian words that are abbreviated or symbolized alongside the notes on the stave and are just one way that the composer is telling you to inject more feeling and personality into a song, rather than just routinely playing the notes off a page. The basic dynamics are forte F and piano P. This means loud and quiet respectively. However, there are plenty of more variations. For example, dismantle PP means very quiet and formanzo means very loud, and the word menso is often added onto these. It means moderate, so menso forte means moderately loud. Symbols are also used. A crescendo is symbolized with a which means getting louder. Similarly, a demento means getting quieter. Check out our table the most common musical dynamics to learn. As musical instruments have a limit to just how loud or quiet they can sound, you don't want to play the loudest when singing a forte symbol. Only to turn the page and realize that the piece escalates to formenzo and you can't play any louder. A dynamic sound. Take a look at musical dynamics doing what they do best. And that's for today's video. Hope you all enjoyed. And see you again very, very soon. Later.